This is Matt from Chateau Fontaine. With everyone stuck inside due to the lockdown, I decided to try something new. As many of you know, at Chateau Fontaine, we believe in giving a wine education in addition to a tasting. And I thought it was about time we shared that experience with the world. Today, we're going to start with Chardonnay. Right off the bat, Chardonnay is a grape like Honeycrisp is an apple, and it's the only grape we use to make our Chardonnay wine. It's a great place to start because it's where we started. Chardonnay is the first grape we grew at Chateau Fontaine. Now, Chardonnay originates in the Burgundy region of France, which is actually a lot smaller than a lot of people realize. But today, it's grown all over the world in all sorts of different types of climates and soils. There's three main ways to make Chardonnay into wine: oaked, unoaked, and sparkling. Chardonnay is actually one of the three grapes used to make champagne. But as interesting and as complex as champagne is, we're not going to be getting into that today. We're going to be talking about the two other styles, oaked and unoaked. The style of Chardonnay that dominates the mass market production in California is solidly the oaked style of Chardonnay. This means that is the style most American consumers are familiar with. Unfortunately, this becomes a stereotype, and many people assume that it's the only style that Chardonnay is made in. As the name suggests, oaked Chardonnay is indeed stored in oak barrels. This will give the wine flavors like vanilla and toast. However, with Chardonnay, both oaked and unoaked, there is another manipulation tool at play, and that is malolactic fermentation. Very basically, malolactic fermentation is a secondary fermentation that softens the acids in wine. It takes the acid that you find in something like orange juice and turns it into the acid that you find in something like yogurt. This gives the wine a softer mouthfeel, but it can also take away from the fruit character of the wine. Malolactic fermentation can be done a lot or a little. When it's done a lot, you sometimes get a buttery taste to the wine, and that is the style that dominates in California. All of this means that most Chardonnay that you find in an average American grocery store is going to taste something like butter, toast, and or vanilla. Now, while this wine has its place, like with hearty lobster, chicken, or fish dishes, it's not super appealing to the average newcomer. The unoaked style of Chardonnay tends to be very different. These wines are made primarily in stainless steel vats, and they tend to be very light and focused on fruit. Some of the fruit characteristics that tend to come out in the fermentation process from Chardonnay are lemon, melon, apple, peach, and pear. Now, we're not adding any of these fruits to the wine itself. They are simply flavors that emerge through the process of the juice getting turned into alcohol. This finally brings us to our Chardonnay. I describe our Chardonnay as being full-bodied with a creamy texture, but it's so bright, it's like biting into a Honeycrisp apple. This gives our wine a good balance of an oaked and an unoaked Chardonnay, and tends to be palatable to pretty much everyone, from people who like the oak style to the unoaked style, even people who don't typically like Chardonnay at all. As far as pairing goes, this is a great wine to pair with heartier dishes, things like shellfish or fried chicken. But honestly, this is also a wine that goes great in a glass all on its own. The best part about this wine is it's only $14 a bottle. It can be found at our online store at chateaufontaine.com/shop, along with all of our other wines. Thanks, and cheers from Chateau Fontaine.